Now at 10 and streaming on crossroadstoday.com, new information on the murder of Lisbeth Medina in Edna earlier this month. More details on the North Texas crash that killed 6 people Tuesday. And over $10 million of illegal drugs are seized at the border in Laredo.
We've been seeing some nice winter temperatures, but overnight could be on the chilly side. We'll talk all about that and more, but first, here's Zach.
We will have some scores from some area basketball teams coming up in sports.
You're watching 25 News now at 10. Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Don Brubaker. Karina Garcia has the night off. New at 10, Victoria police report one person was transported to the hospital after a two-vehicle crash Wednesday at about 4:00 p.m. The crash was on Sam Houston Drive near the James Moody Post Office. One of the vehicles hit a pole. Power lines were down in front of a storage facility on Sam Houston. New details now on the arrest of Rafael Romero, the 23-year-old man who authorities say confessed to the December 5th murder of 16-year-old Lisbeth Medina in Edna. The Jackson County Herald Tribune reports a probable cause affidavit shows Romero displayed what was called, quote, stalking-type behavior before the fatal stabbing. Lisbeth's phone was active in the days following her death, and information from her phone led police to Schulenburg, where Romero was taken into custody. He was found to also have Lisbeth's wallet. While Romero is at the Jackson County Jail on $2 million bond, an immigration hold based on his expired visa makes him ineligible for bond. El Campo police took 34-year-old Ryan Reyes into custody late last week. Reyes faces 9 charges, including abandonment and endangering a child, burglary of a building, and evading arrest. Reyes is in the Wharton County Jail in lieu of $70,500 bond. U.S. Customs and Border Patrol officers in Laredo found meth and cocaine worth more than $10 million in a tractor trailer last week. KSAT reports the drugs were seized at the World Trade Bridge after a tractor trailer was referred to a secondary inspection. The tractor trailer was supposed to be only hauling fresh cut flowers in a refrigerated unit, but officers found more than 1,000 pounds of drugs inside. Homeland Security is investigating the case. There are 3 candidates in the Lavaca County Sheriff GOP primary. The Hallettsville Tribune Herald reports Micah Harmon is seeking his 3rd term as county sheriff. Anthony Vaccaro of Yoakum is now the director of operations for the sheriff's office. Stephen Greenwell of Hallettsville was Lavaca County Precinct 1 Justice of the Peace before he resigned. The Lavaca County GOP primary is March 5th. No Democrats filed to run for sheriff, so the GOP primary winner will be Lavaca County's next sheriff. Let's take a first look at your forecast. In for our First Warn Storm Team, Chief Meteorologist Mac Pennes is meteorologist Howie Gordon. Howie, great day today. With the sun went down, things are getting a little cooler out there again.
Now, you're right, Don. So with the lack of clouds, the sun heats us up nicely, but then the lack of clouds allows that heat to escape back into the atmosphere at night and into the morning, and then we really cool down. So yes, again, into the 70s today, but look where we're going. We're going to be potentially by Thursday morning into the 30s. By Friday morning, we could see freezing temperatures here in portions of the viewing area. So yeah, a couple chilly nights ahead with the daytimes not looking so bad. But tonight, here's where we're going. 37 degrees, clear and chilly. Tomorrow, though, a little better. Here we go, back up to 60 with some sunshine. We'll talk more about our chilly nights in just a bit, Don.
Howie, thank you. A missing pregnant South Texas teenager and her boyfriend were found dead in a parked car Tuesday in San Antonio. 18-year-old Savannah Soto and 22-year-old Matthew Guerra were reported missing by police. 2 bodies were found at an apartment complex. NBC News reports both suffered gunshot wounds. Authorities said the bodies may have been there for 3 or 4 days. Soto's family says she was a week overdue to deliver and was scheduled to have an induced labor at a hospital last Saturday night. U.S. and Mexico's leaders met today in hopes of finding solutions for the migrant crisis. Today, the mayors of New York City, Chicago, and Denver called for more federal resources and a coordinated system to deal with the influx of migrants. This comes while a record number of migrants are arriving at the southern border.
A caravan of thousands of migrants is now headed to an overwhelmed southern border as the month of December is on track to have the highest number of Border Patrol apprehensions ever, according to CBP data, with several days seeing more than 10,000 apprehensions. The mayors of three major cities, New York, Chicago, and Denver, meeting to discuss solutions for the crisis. New York City Mayor Eric Adams calling out Texas Governor Greg Abbott after Abbott sent hundreds of asylum seekers using taxpayer dollars to Democrat-led sanctuary cities via planes and buses.
Stop the games and use of migrants as political pawns. But we need the state and federal government's help in resettling and supporting the 68,000 migrants still in our care, as well as those who are on their way and those yet to come.
The mayor speaking from a united front, calling on more federal resources and a coordinated system to deal with the influx as they scramble to shelter the migrants.
Buses sent by the governor of Texas, literally dropping families off in the middle of nowhere.
In Mexico City, Secretary of State Antony Blinken and Alejandro Mayorkas meeting with Mexico's president. Sources telling ABC News the Biden administration planned to push Mexico to step up immigration enforcement within their country, help reopen key ports of entry, and encourage migrants to stay in Mexico. Melissa Adan, ABC News, Los Angeles.
A two-vehicle crash on the North Texas highway killed 6 people and critically injured 3 others. Authorities said Wednesday that Tuesday's crash near Fort Worth happened when a southbound pickup truck driven by a 17-year-old entered the northbound lanes in a no-passing zone and crashed head-on into a minivan. The crash killed 6 people in the minivan. 5 of the passengers who died in the vehicle were from Georgia. A 7th passenger in the van and 2 17-year-olds in the truck were transported to the hospital. A pilot was killed after his plane crashed into an East Texas home Tuesday. DPS responded to a residence east of Dallas around 6 p.m. after reports of a plane crashing into the side of a home. Authorities found 1 person dead inside a single-engine plane as a result of the crash. No one was at home when the crash happened. DPS identified the pilot as 60-year-old Roger Turner of Edgewood. The National Transportation Safety Board will oversee the investigation. A tractor-trailer driver is in custody after an hours-long chase and standoff with police on Interstate 10 in Houston, which shut down traffic in both directions. Police used stop sticks, which hit 2 tires, and the truck eventually came to a stop, but the driver refused to get out. Officers used gas, non-lethal weapons, verbal commands, and even a canine to try and get him out. When all that did not work, a tactical team pulled him out. The driver was taken away for medical attention and charges are pending. We turn now to the crisis in the Middle East. White House leaders held a high-stakes meetings with other leaders there as Israel's war against Hamas rages on. It comes as the U.S. responds to another round of attacks by Iran-backed terrorists, fueling fears of a wider conflict.
According to the American Heart Association, about 90% of people who suffer a cardiac arrest outside of a hospital setting do not survive it. If you go into cardiac arrest in public, bystander CPR significantly increases your chances of survival. However, not everyone has the privilege of learning how to perform CPR, especially those from marginalized backgrounds. The American Heart Association adds that only 26% of Asian American, and Pacific Islander individuals say they can confidently perform CPR because they never properly learned. 46% claim they are likely to perform CPR, while 79% are hesitant to perform hands-only CPR because they're worried they will hurt the person. It is crucial that bystander CPR is taught among minority communities so that people who suffer cardiac arrests have a better chance of survival. Not only will it lead to more lives saved, but it will also help close the inequity gap. Free CPR classes are available in many communities. It's an easy way to help keep your neighbors safe. With this Medical Minute, I'm Liz Landers, ABC News.
Here's some of the top headlines you can read in the Port Lavaca Wave. The widening of the Matagorda Ship Channel is facing a setback after a miscalculation was found in how much material was needed to be dredged from the channel. Plus, the Calhoun County Commissioners Court approved several amendments to the county's budget in a meeting on December 6th. You can read these stories and more at theportlavacawave.com. Remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Crossroads Today. Hit the like button and click the notification bell so you can see Crossroads Today on YouTube. And stay with us. Coming up on 25 News now at 10. 2 people are recovering after a helicopter crash near Miami. Also ahead, for those wanting to get Apple's hottest new smartwatch, you still might have a chance. And we turn now to the crisis in the Middle East. White House leaders held a high-stakes meeting with other leaders there as Israel's war against Hamas rages on. It comes as the U.S. responds to another round of attacks by Iran-backed terrorists, fueling fears of a wider conflict.
In a widening assault, Israeli Defense Forces releasing new video that they say shows troops targeting Hamas infrastructure in central Gaza. Israel launching over 200 rockets in a day. The Hamas-run Gaza Ministry of Health saying more than 250 people were killed in the last 24 hours. The World Health Organization saying Gaza has over 20 hospitals that aren't functioning at all. And Israeli officials warn the war will continue for many more months. More than 100 hostages still being held in Gaza, including American citizens. President Biden speaking with Qatar's leader by phone about efforts to release them and the need for more humanitarian aid in Gaza. It comes after top Israeli official Ron Dermer met with Secretary of State Blinken at the White House Tuesday discussing military operations in Gaza. Meanwhile, there are fears of a larger conflict. Israel's defense minister says the country is under attack from 7 different fronts, including Gaza, the West Bank, Lebanon, Iran, and Iraq. Israeli forces releasing this new video they say shows strikes against militant group Hezbollah, the two continuing to exchange fire in northern Israel and Lebanon. And in Iraq, protesters taking to the streets after reports from state media claim an Israeli airstrike in Syria killed a top Iranian general directly responsible for arming proxy groups in the region. Iranian officials vowing revenge.
As tensions in the region remain high, U.S. Central Command confirmed that it shot down 10 more drones and 5 missiles launched by yet another group, Houthi rebels. Rena Roy, ABC News, New York.
2 people are in the hospital today after a helicopter crashed into a canal in southwest Miami-Dade. The FAA said a helicopter flying in from Fort Myers crashed at around 1:50 p.m. in an area about 3 miles west of Miami Executive Airport. 2 people were on board the helicopter. Miami-Dade Fire Rescue pulled the people out of the water and took them to a hospital. The FAA is investigating the cause of the crash. The NAACP is calling for the passage of a hate crimes bill in South Carolina after a cross-burning incident facing the home of a black couple in Conway in November. Some noted that South Carolina is one of only 2 states that does not have a hate crimes bill. They spoke in support of the couple, who said they've been harassed by neighbors for years before the cross-burning. They also expressed support for law enforcement for using all the tools available to them to prevent further such incidents.
We just can't have hate in our communities. And what occurred in this unfortunate incident that happened, this is not our community. This is not the community of Conway, the community of Horry County, and I feel like the state of South Carolina, but I know I can speak for us.
Gordon Butler and Alexis Hartnett, the neighbors of the Williams, are out on bond facing a harassment charge. The FBI is among the law enforcement agencies investigating the cross burning. Here's a look at some of the top headlines you'll find in the Cuero Record. Longtime DPS trooper Ruben Garcia retires. And Westhoff ISD held its annual Christmas program. Read these stories and more at DeWittCountyToday.com. Apple can temporarily resume its sale of smartwatches after its victory in U.S. appeals court. Today's court ruling paused an import ban on the devices which have been imposed in a patent dispute over its medical monitoring technology. Apple previously filed an emergency request asking the U.S. Court of Appeals to halt an order from the U.S. International Trade Commission, ruling that Apple had infringed on California-based company Masimo's patents. Analysts say a final decision could cost either company millions of dollars and potentially force a settlement or some kind of technological workaround by Apple. And here's your viewer poll tonight. Scan that QR code on your screen to vote. And here's the question. Do you own or were you planning to purchase one of the affected Apple Watch models? Yes or no? Let's look at the numbers. It looks like 11% of our voters said yes, they were going to buy that Apple Watch. 89% said no. And we thank you for voting. Many people ring in the new year with fireworks. We're looking for people who may have been hurt in the past using fireworks. We want to hear your story. Email us at staff@crossroadstoday.com.
We have some decent days ahead, but we also have some chilly nights and mornings as well. We'll talk more about it coming up in just a little bit. All right, another beautiful, in my opinion, December day. Temperatures in the 70s, lots of sunshine, winds on the lighter side. Now, couple breezy days here and there, but yeah, cool nights and cool mornings. Maybe our coolest nights and mornings of the season lying ahead next couple of days for us. But the days are still relatively on the nice side, at least by my standards. We'll break it all down. Everyone's got their own opinion. But here's what happened today. Look at that. 71 degrees. It's late December, almost January now. A couple days ago, Christmas Eve day, 75 degrees. So about 5 degrees above where we're supposed to be. Hey, though, we've been in the 80s back in 1968. And the last 3 days, we've had some 80s corresponding to the day in the past. So a beach week some of these times in December here in the Crossroads. Okay, so yes, beautiful day today. We started off with that boundary coming through a couple days ago. That boundary came through. Now what happened though, that cool dry air was undercutting all this warm, moist Gulf air. I know I've been talking about this a lot, but it's undercutting it. It's creating some lift and some cloud cover. But high pressure, yeah, that's our driving force right now. High pressure usually means clear skies, dry conditions. The dry conditions, yes, because the high is going to prevent really even the clouds that we see from bringing the showers. But the cloud cover was blocking out the sun a little bit, so we weren't getting as warm, but it was keeping us warmer at night. But what's happening now is the high pressure continues to build and push in, bringing that cooler, dry, sinking air in, negating all the cloud cover. So the sun's heating us up very nicely, but at night now, with that flow still of that cool air pushing in, and then the heat escaping in the night and morning, we're seeing some cool nights and mornings, maybe the coolest of the season so far. Thursday and Friday, I'm expecting us to drop into the 30s. Some spots potentially, the further you get away from the water, we could see maybe below freezing temperatures, 32, 31, or 30. The day's warming up pretty nicely though. I mean, 58, 60 degrees with some sunshine and light winds. I'll take that. That's very nice in my opinion. I know everyone lives here and they do want the cool down. They want more rain, this and that. Or some of you like it hot all the time. That's why I moved. I want it warm year round. Here's what we got for dew points. Another factor, these low moisture levels not holding on to the heat. It's escaping at night. So yes, we're seeing these 30-degree temperatures overnight, but then the sun's free to warm us up without any blockage of the moisture or the cloud cover during the daytime. Okay, so here's what's going on. I talked about it. We'll go over it again. That latest boundary a couple days ago pushed through. High pressure moved in, bringing the cool, dry, sinking air. But we were seeing that undercutting of the warm, moist Gulf air, and we saw some clouds. But now as high pressure is building in behind high pressure that's leaving the area, there's enough now to really rid us of most cloud cover. So again, without that cloud cover and the cooler, we're really cooling down. We're also seeing the sun warm us up pretty nicely during the day. This high will move off. We'll start to see some more warm, moist Gulf air push in. So we'll see some warmer temperatures later in the week. But then we're adding moisture to the atmosphere. You get that moisture in the atmosphere and some passing fronts. With that lift, we could see some showers, probably not till after the weekend though, but high pressure is still going to stay in control. I'm expecting dry conditions right through New Year's. We do have a boundary coming through overnight, New Year's Eve into New Year's Day. Right now, I'm looking at it. It's looking to keep us on the dry side, but probably going to drop our temperatures down. Here's our marine forecast. Here's what we got. So 62 for our water, seas 2 to 3 feet. Now our winds, you see the 20 knots. Those will start to tame, calm down a little bit, maybe only 5 to 10 knots, but still things been kind of turbulent and choppy around the area. So yeah, bays will still remain on the choppy side. So overnight, 37 degrees. That's a chilly one. Winds don't look to be too bad, so kind of comfortable. Light jacket will do the job for the most part. You get the winds gusting, then I'd put that heavy winter coat on. At least I would be. Tomorrow, 60 degrees, lots of sunshine, looking pretty nice. I know we're starting with some cool temperatures, so we're trying to get a little warmer than that. The sun might just do it. Looking ahead, here is what we got. So by New Year's Eve, 71 degrees New Year's Eve day, that is. And then by New Year's, I talked about that boundary. That's going to knock us back down. But then after New Year's, maybe, first couple days in the new year, then we got our best shot at some rain chances. For more weather, news, and sports, you can go to our app. That's at crossroadstoday.com. And that is free on any Android and iPhone. And now we go to Sports with Zach.
Well, last night, Texas State got its first ever ball win, and they drank the stadium dry. I'll have that in sports. Well, yesterday we told you about the Shiner girls and their number 18 ranking in Class 2A, and earlier today they took on the Yoakum Bulldogs. They win again. Final score in this one, 49-37. They run that winning streak up to 8 consecutive games. The last time they lost was to Cuero, who was ranked in Class 4A. For Yoakum, it was a good test against an elite team. Over on the boys' side of things, close battle with Kennedy. Shiner up 5 late. Touchdown pass. He doesn't even have to dribble. Big bucket for the Comanches, but Kennedy not going away easily. They answer with a 3-pointer, and it's just a 4-point game. But Kennedy fouled Shiners, who hit 1 free throw, and their desperation attempt as time wound down fell short. The boys win 58-53. The St. Joseph Lady Flyers just keep flying high. Another tournament, another doubleheader, and another sweep. In game 1 of their doubleheader, they took on the Needville Blue Jays, who got the win, or St. Joseph got the win, rather, 42-30. This game had an even amount of scoring from top to bottom. AC Miori and Jordy Ibarra each put up 7, which were game highs, followed by Bella Micas with 6 points. In game 2, they got the Brazos Cougars. Dominant victory for the ladies. They only allowed 7 points in the second half. The girls are now 15-5 overall on the year. They have won 7 games in a row. They play Tidehaven tomorrow, going for another tournament victory. The Cuero Gobblers also won their doubleheader. They took game 1 in their tourney 54-47 over Lexington, and in game 2 against Giddings, they dominated 65-38. Now they play 2 more tomorrow, and it's early, 9 a.m. and 11 a.m. trying to go for the tourney win as well. It is official. The Dallas Mavs will soon have some new owners. Billionaire Mark Cuban has sold his majority stake in the NBA team to Dr. Miriam Adelson and her family. Adelson is the largest shareholder of Las Vegas Sands Casino Empire. Cuban will maintain partial ownership of the Mavericks franchise, or 27% to be exact, and remain in control of basketball operations. Cuban bought the team for $285 million over 20 years ago. His majority stake was valued at $3.5 billion with a B dollars. All right, the Texas State Bobcats won their first ever bowl game under first-year head coach G.J. Kinney, and they say Texas State's a party school, and they showed out yesterday. They drew well over 26,000 fans. They drank their stadium, their side of the stadium. They drank it dry with 12 minutes left in the second quarter. So they go to the Rice Owl side of things and drank all the beers halfway through the third quarter. And you'd rather celebrate like that than celebrate like this. This may be a bowl game you want to lose, but it is tradition. The winning head coach gets doused in Duke's Mayo following the Duke's Mayo Bowl win. They may need to start doing this one to the loser as opposed to the winner. And while we're on the topic of bowl games, Don, the Oklahoma State Cowboys and Texas A&M Aggies going at it. Oklahoma State was taking it to them, but Shiner Comanche Dalton Brooks came up with a big interception. It would lead to an Aggie touchdown. They're currently down 31-20 late in the third quarter, and C.J. Stroud could come back this Sunday. He's in stage 4 protocol of his concussion protocol. That's it for your sports. Back to you.
Zach, I tell you, there's one coach there who probably was yelling out, "Hold the Mayo."
Who's that?
Yeah, that guy who got
Oh, West Virginia head coach. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that coach thinks that kind of celebration won't cut the mustard. All right, Zach, thank you, and stay with us. Coming up on 25 News Now at 10, we'll take a last look at your weather. Plus, New York's New Year's Eve iconic ball gets a new design. You can take a look at the top articles and stories we covered in 2023. Just go to crossroadstoday.com and click on Crossroads Today Top Stories of 2023 under News. The iconic New Year's Eve ball in Times Square just got bigger and brighter as it readies for its big night Sunday. The ball has more than 2,600 crystal panels and with a bow tie to match. The design comes through a partnership with Fontainebleau Las Vegas that remembers a time to when Times Square used to be known as the bow tie. New Year's Eve organizers unveiled the dazzling design Wednesday atop One Times Square just days before the big celebration. California residents dealt with high surf, rain, and gusty winds Wednesday. Rain amounts up to 1.5 inches will be possible in the region, and on Friday, rainfall amounts are expected to be higher. Wind gusts in coastal areas there in Bay Area, California were forecasted to be as high as 40 miles per hour. High surf is predicted to build today with breaking waves reaching up to 22 feet by Thursday morning. I hope no one there is dumb enough to try and surf those waves. But when you look at that kind of a situation, I know it's not snow and ice. When you look at that kind of situation and look at our weather situation, we're going,
a lot. The waves might be a little choppy, but no, we are enjoying a lot better than that. Lots and lots of sunshine. Little bit chilly though. You see this night. You know, we could see some areas tonight drop down to 31, 32 degrees. That means yes, freezing temperatures. So yeah, that's going to happen tonight more than likely. Lack of cloud cover, still getting that airflow out of the north, the cooler, dry, sinking air, and that will help cool us down. But here's what we got overnight, 37 degrees. So yes, a chilly one tomorrow, back up to 60. But looking ahead to the rest of the week, hey, we got some nice days. New Year's Eve day, 71 degrees.
Howie, thank you. And finally tonight, here's something you don't see every day. Springfield police had to shut down parts of a freeway during evening rush hour traffic to catch a cow. Police said the bovine had hopped out of its trailer on South Campbell near the Library Center a little before 5 o'clock. A few bystanders tried to round up the heifer, but she headed for the freeway. Officers shut down the eastbound lanes for around an hour until they wrangled it near the off-ramp. Hey, don't have a cow. Thank you for joining us for 25 News Now at 10. Join Carolina Astroim, meteorologist Parker Cox. 25 News Now, sunrise starting at 5 a.m. Good night, everybody.